Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Virtual Michigan here tonight. And after we went last time out for the Australian NASCAR Championship to the home of NASCAR in America, Charlotte Motor Speedway, I cannot tell you, ladies and gentlemen, looking into that one, I thought this is going to be a boring fest. We are not going to have a race here. We had our closest finish that it is going to take years to get closer than 5,000ths of a second. It was centimeters that separated them at the end of such a classic race. Honestly, if you haven't seen the broadcast, you have to go and watch the last 5 laps from the last time out for the Australian NASCAR Championship. It was just mental. Came out of nowhere. The big thing though, tonight we head to some of the bigger racetracks, and if we have a little bit of a look forward in terms of our calendar, that is what we're going to be looking at for the next few rounds as well. We are off to Michigan tonight, 2 miles worth of racetrack. From here, we'll journey off to Pocono, 2.5 miles. Pocono is not necessarily considered an air quote super speedway, but it has the track length of one, and that's the biggest factor there. Chicago Street Course will break up some of the bigger tracks as we head our way to the regular season finale. Indianapolis and Daytona, 2.5 mile ovals to round the season out. That'll bring us all the way through to August 3rd, every fortnight here on your Sunday nights in terms of the Australian NASCAR Championship. Darlington, Richmond, and Bristol are going to be the first part of the playoffs, and then to run us down to the championship finale, Atlanta, Talladega, and Las Vegas, it will all be decided, and the inaugural champion for the Australian NASCAR Championships at Homestead, Miami, the cultural home of what's been the championship playoff finale for a number of years. And has created so many stories in last lap passes. Nigel, you put this calendar together with you and your team behind the scenes, and you'll join me on the broadcast here tonight, mate. This is what the playoff picture looks like, but as an admin, you would have watched the race a couple of weeks ago and just sat there and just gone, whoa, if you could have predicted this back at the start of the season, this is all I ever wanted.
100%, and good evening to everyone listening out there and watching as well. The first, that finish, I've just picked my jaw up off the ground. I'm still absolutely blown away from that performance. But tonight, I think Brad Newman is the car to watch. He hasn't got a win yet this season. He's hungry for that win. Or could it be Zach Kerr, Matt dancing on that winning way once again? And then Ethan Winter as well. He's been showing some great form in the X Series on Tuesday nights. He won last week at, I can't remember where it was now, off the top of my head. I think that it was Michigan, or no, it wasn't Michigan. Yeah, I can't remember now.
At Michigan on Thursday night, but yeah, I don't know 100% cool where Xfinity Series was, but yeah, you're right.
He's had a cracking, he's in some great form as well. So looking at that picture there at the moment, Brad Newman, and we got Tyler Williams and Wayne Burke also showing some great form, but just got to remember tonight as well, Josh Wickamore will be starting from the rear. So he'll be one to storm through the field later on in this run.
And can you give us a little bit more insight information onto that one for the fans that are watching along at home? With Micklemore coming from the rear, obviously he's inside and in playoff contention, but you don't just get sent to the rear for no reason. In iRacing, and for the viewers watching along at home, if you're a fan of NASCAR, generally that sort of a penalty is levied because of unapproved changes to the car didn't pass a tech inspection. That's not the case. We don't have scrutineering in terms of iRacing, so what's caused the penalty for Micklemore?
If you cause a yellow... I've got feedback coming through my headset, but that's all right. I'll fix that now. If you cause a yellow flag, you get 3 points put towards you. And once you get to 9 points, you have an end of line. And once you get to 12 points, you then have one race suspension. So at the moment, Josh is on 9 points, but he'll start from the rear tonight. And if you do have a clean race, you do lose a point every time. It's the same type of setup as what's used in the Coke Series in America, which is the big NASCAR series on iRacing. So hopefully a couple clean races for Josh, and he'll be back under the threshold of 9 points. But yeah, he'll start from the rear tonight, and he will be looking to storm through this field, which everybody knows how good Josh Mickelmore is. He's also already had 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s this year, so he's showing some great form.
Yeah, and that's the playoff standings that we're just having a look at as well. Worthwhile noting that Wayne Burke sits the best of the drivers yet to claim a win last time out as well. That fantastic finish, the run to the line. Zach Kerr finally put his nose ahead of Danson on the run to championship glory. Let's take a little bit of a look at the racetrack here now. Michigan, like we mentioned, 2 miles in length. Normally, your intermediate racetracks, 1.5 miles in length. This one just on the higher side of that. Momentum will be king. 75 degrees Fahrenheit in terms of our temperatures. That's the air temperature, by the way. 67% humidity, partly cloudy, and a 12-mile-an-hour wind coming our way. I believe that's coming from the northeast at the moment as well. Track temperature is 36 degrees Celsius. That's all the information. Qualifying now has been run and done. It is in the books. With the field lining up here tonight on what is the iRacing Nürburgring 24-hour weekend. The field is a little bit trimmed out as drivers have been participating in international exploits in terms of endurance racing. Also the long weekend in most of the states around the country as well, so a little bit lighter on in terms of driver count here tonight. Ethan Winter has been the man to master in terms of qualifying pace. He will chalk up one more pole position to his tally, but it's a man that's seeking a few results, a driver that could look to move his way inside of that top 10 and potentially put a win on the board. Dave Douglas starts alongside. Brad Newman talked already, starts on row number 2. Ryan Jones, these two do not get on. Look for the headlines to start from row number 2. Zach Kerr is in a whole host of form. He will start off of row number 3. Jason Holdsworth, another driver also looking for a little bit further up the field, can certainly challenge for a race win. Wayne Burke and Fitzroy Beaumont, Vermilion Esports teammates off of row number 4. Matt Danson inside the top 10. Qualifying pace has not been his big thing this year. It's been the race where he seems to move forward. Stevie Williams will start alongside. Lachlan Mead, remember that race all the way back at the end of the championship? He'll start off of 11th spot. Brent Hobson alongside of him. Before we get back to 13th and 14th, Tommy Freer, one of the most lovable guys in Australian sim racing. He will be moving back to Synergy Sim Racing alongside ex-teammate Sam Chapman from Vermilion Esports. On row number 7, Shane Bowen's been unfortunately banging doors. It was with Josh Mickelmore, which accrued some penalty points last time out at Charlotte. Sam Smith will start up alongside of him on the 8th row of the grid. Aaron Gilbert and Brenton Rest bring up the 9th row. Finally, coming from 10th row will be Jamie Ritchie-Price and Henry King. And Josh Mickelmore, end of the longest line penalty. He will start the only car on row number 11. And draft is king, which means the pack needs to stay together. Got to build a run to make your way forward here, Nige.
And who is your tip tonight, Scotty, as we're about to go green?
Look, I'd love to see Jason do well. I think we all would. He puts a lot of work in. Whether or not he's actually able to put time on the sim, that's because he's working away at things behind the scenes. So I always love to see Jason do well. You got to try. You already tipped Brad Newman?
Brad Newman and Ethan Winter for me. They're the two in form.
Restart zone, and here we go. Green flag racing for 100 laps, 200 miles from Michigan Motor Speedway. On the first of the runs down to turn number 1, Newman gets a little bit of a touch. That's going to come from the way of Zach Kerr. They get loose on the run down to turn 1. He's going to run him tight as they get into 1. Gets him aero tight. All of a sudden, it's going to be trying to turn it back down underneath. Here comes Jones to the inside. All that's is Ethan Winter to get out at the head of them. Dave Douglas lost a ton of spots on lap 1. That did not take long to shoot off like a bottle rocket. Have a look at Wayne Burke. He's going to wrap the bottom down here. But that was a lot more aggressive than I was expecting for lap 1 of 100 the other night.
And they were 4 wide going down that back straight away. Dave Douglas hit the wall as well, so he'll have a little bit of damage on that car, and I imagine, as Holdsworth now gets on the outside of Dave on the outside teammates. Oh! Ryan Jones standing up the middle, Brad Newman And Zach Kerr there on the outside there. Wayne Burke is just playing his time there on the inside. But yeah, these two do not like each other, the 11 and number 1. So that we might see some fireworks later on if these two are around each other at the end.
Well, Zach Kerr was given the bad bump to Newman on the run to turn number 1 on the first lap. He's giving him a much better push down the back straightaway on lap number 2. Gets up and gets tied up and against the fence for the number 12. Manages to sort himself in. Championship leader, of course. For the meantime, 2 laps in the book. And tyres will become the talking point in a very short amount of time. Who is going to be able to say? No one transitions in the first group of 6 to the bottom of the racetrack. Take a look at the seams. You can see them on the racetrack down the back straight away here. Change the banking, change the grooves, change the way the car drives. That'll be a big talking point. Don't sit the tyre on the seam. Generally considered a bad move. Have a look out at front. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Dave Douglas has lost 4 positions so far, but our biggest gainer so far has been Zach Kerr. He's up 3 as Wayne Burke as well as up 3 as well in 2nd and 4th respectively. We've also then got down the field there Josh Mickelmore. He's already up 2 spots. He's up to 19th already. So we're going to see some cars starting to push through the field. And there's one thing, these cars will start getting loose if you use your tyres up a little bit too much, I'd say, in the next 15 to 20 laps.
Big thing about the Xfinity package and the reason that it's such a thing. High horsepower, low downforce. You want the car to wiggle around, and that's the whole design here. You need skills, you need throttle management. Zach gets to the inside, looking for a little bit of a side draft on Ethan Winter down the front straightaway. That opens the door to Brad. 3 wide for the race lead. Clean air is king at the head of the field. And Newman doing his best to get to the bottom. He clears. Zach Kerr clears Ethan Winter. So Winter exited turn 4 with the race lead. Kerr's going to come back at him. And bump draft's already not been the cleanest thus far tonight. Push down the back straightaway. Into 3 and 4. Does Kerr give him another touch up? Gets the nose underneath. Tight for Brad Newman. Runs it up the racetrack. Now on the mid corner. Zach Kerr is tight. Banging doors. Banging wheels. And I tell you what. It is Motorsport's madness from Michigan.
And Dave Douglas is now making the move on Newman there on the inside as well. So has Newman got a little bit of damage on that car that he's starting to fall back in the field a little bit?
No, it's just lost a ton of momentum coming off of turn 4, but he's a touch tight as they come up and out at the crest of turn 2. He can get tight. The car doesn't want to turn. Fans watching along at home, NASCAR's got totally different terminology. Of course, they only turn left. What's right-hander? So, of course, they use different terminology. Tight and loose are the 2 terms you'll hear drivers talk about. In terms of their race car, tight is understeer. Car doesn't want to turn. Loose, car wants to turn too much jandle in it. The right rear will come around on you. These cars tend to drive off the right rear tyre a little bit more than the right front, such as the aero package and the way that they drive. High horsepower. It's much more similar to a V8 supercar, this package, than anything. And Dave Douglas having some technical difficulties at the moment. Just said he lost force feedback in his wheel, which means that he's got very little feeling. He's struggling to feel what the car is doing on the racetrack at the moment. That is not something he wants to do here early in this one.
And as Zach Kerr's got the lead at the moment, he's just taking full advantage of that clean air. There was some great 3-4 wide action just before between all of these cars. It looks like Wayne Burke is getting a good run there on the other Team Conti car of Ethan Winter for Vortex Sim Sports as well.
Josh Mickelmore has made no ground, by the way. He is still stuck out in 19th. Keeping an eye on Wayne Burke up at the front. And there is a split in the packs at the moment because Sam Smith is trying to shove Shane Bowen, but Bowen has lost the lead group. So we do have a split in the pack, and it's 14th on up. Only your lead pack.
As we see Matt Danson just behind, in front of Stevie Williams there, just going to be catching up to Jason Holdsworth there. You also got to start to remember too that fuel saving. If this starts going green, you'd want to start saving fuel, especially when there's one thing with the Xfinity car is the fuel does spread out a lot more, so the chances of yellow flags do decrease by a lot. So always Richie Price just smacks the wall coming out of 2. So it's already these guys will be starting to think of pit strategy of when to start saving fuel and when they can come in.
Yeah, I can tell you Josh Mickelmore has just picked up one more spot. He was in behind Aaron Gilbert. He's now picked him off up to 18th spot. But again, in the second pack right now, we'll get to the inside of Brenton West on the front straightaway. So that'll be for 17th spot. A little bit of a side draft. And clears the 13 machine on the run down into turn 1. And then for the Aussie viewers watching along at home, yes, there's 2 turns on this racetrack, but they call them turn 1 and turn 2, which is effectively what we call turn 1. 3 and 4 of the racetrack, turn 3 and turn 4. But then again, you get to the tricky triangle later in the season. And Nigel, how do they get 3 turns on a NASCAR racetrack? That just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. We've got our own little speedway track down where I live, and it's a 10-second lap, and there's 4 corners. Matt Danson makes the move on Jason Holdsworth.
And Danson's going to get that job done. Holdsworth goes to work supporting him, making sure they suck back up to the next group in front of them. 10th of the race already ticked off as we're already on lap number 11. Is that Stevie Williams moving to the outside? Nicknamed Stevie Dub. Oh, this is a W at the start of his last name. It's that simple. Race car drivers, we're not geniuses.
And there's one thing, you don't want to lose the draft either. So sometimes when you get caught on that inside line, if everyone's against the wall, that is a massive disadvantage. So sometimes you just got to try to find that little gap and squeeze yourself in there. You just need to keep it in the draft on these bigger oval tracks.
Lachlan Mead there's a bit of contact deeper in the field. Tom Freer just nudged the rear end of Sam Chapman. And Chapman's actually touched the fence on the back straightaway. Chapman was loose off of 1 and 2. And Freer thought there was a touch more room than there was. Here we go. It's getting tight as the tyres start to wear. Tell you what, Josh Mickelmore's already moved his way through to about 15th spot, and he's starting to pick cars off left, right, and centre. Issue from one car at the tail end of the field. And saw Brenton West. By the sounds of things, tag the barrier. Yeah, he did. He just tagged the barrier a couple laps ago for 1 and 2. So, okay at the moment.
And Josh Mickelmore, he's the biggest mover so far. He's up to 6 positions, up to 15th, so he's on the move.
Keep an eye on him. I was just tracking Mickelmore's lap times at the moment as well. He was actually running faster than the leaders as he starts to close in. Only a couple thousands faster than the leaders in the last couple laps, but most critically was that the car directly ahead of him was Sam Chapman, ran a 45.87, so he took a 10th and a half out of him on that most recent lap. Sits just outside the draft range of this little group, which is what he's looking down the barrel of, just up ahead of him. Brent Hobson in the 88 machine on the outside, 19 machine of Lachlan Mead to the inside, and Fitzroy Beaumont all in and around each other.
Well, Zach Kerr at the moment, he's now gone out to a half a second lead on Ethan Winter. So that clean air, he's starting to pull away in the P1Docs.com machine.
He's actually starting to use a little bit more of the racetrack as well. I don't know if you guys noticed, but all the way to the bottom of 1 and 2 that time, which is, haven't seen a lot of drivers down there thus far. Tends to make the race car a touch looser, so he might be a little tight at the moment. And he's searching to use the racetrack to free that car up.
And there's a little battle going up in 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th, I reckon it is. There's a big batch of cars there at the back there. I can't see. Yeah, there we go. There's got Stevie Dub and the Conti boys. Lachlan Mead. He's going to get the pass on the inside, the 16 car on the 88.
At the moment, everyone's just still chilling out, fuel saving just a fraction. Fuel and tyre saving. Beaumont can't get the run on the inside. You just see how critical it is to be on the outside, carry a little bit more momentum. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, you run a little bit higher up, you lose a little bit more throttle, that puts a little bit more heat in the tyres, a little bit more heat, means more tyre wear in iRacing. So it's something you absolutely want to stay away from as much as you can.
I'm going to try to Tom Free's going to try to send it up the inside on Stevie Dub there to see if he can push him up the track, but he's just going to hold in there. And that's the thing too, though, is that if you're pushing early in those first 5
a little
to
bit
10
loose.
laps.
Here we go. Hang on.
Ooh.
Stevie Dub got
you're
a
right.
touch tight, a touch loose, and Brenton Hobson got on the outside quarter panel, and he is going to clear him down the back straightaway. In the meantime, Beaumont is trying to take advantage of this one as well, get to the inside. So Williams loses 2 for the sake of 1. He looks very tight in that race car. He cannot get that car to turn down the track in the mid-corner at the moment.
And Tom Free's going to make the move on the outside too there. Brendan Hobson, I reckon it was, back there in the field a little bit further. Stevie Dub.
Mission Moore is using this to just close in as well in the meantime. A little bit closer to the front. Matt Douglas gets on the outside. Oh, sorry, Matt Danson gets on the outside of Dave Douglas. And completes that one. Once you get on the outside of the car around Michigan, it's 90% of the job done, provided you don't get cleared on the entry.
And if we head back up the front here too, there, Ethan Winter and Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke just made the pass on Ethan Winter, and they're getting closer. They've picked up 2/10 that lap on Zach Kerr at the front. And on the outs, yeah.
Just holding steady. For now.
I reckon it'll be a one-stop race. I reckon, Scotty. I reckon lap between 50 and 60. I think these cars will start coming in off the top of my head for fuel.
Which is just what they're all tracking to at the moment. Just keeping an eye. Sam Chapman was a touch loose for turn 4 up and down the field. So, for the moment, stalling out just a little bit. But I can tell you, Michael Moore has been the driver on the move. He's been closing in on a ton of different groups of cars. He's desperately just trying to call a touch closer. Right, I'm in the draft. No worries. A touch closer. Right, I'm in the draft. So, we'll chill out for the moment. We'll wait the pit window. They can get anywhere after lap 50. They can make it home on the one stopper. Is the target.
So Wayne Burke is, I think we're going to see a pass for the lead here in a minute, Scotty. I reckon Wayne Burke, he's on the charge. Up front, on Zach Kerr.
Has driven all the way up, and this battle's worth keeping an eye on a little bit deeper in the field as well, because they are starting to get there. So for the meantime, down the back straight away, Brenton Hobson. Again, just everyone.
Wayne Burke's getting loose off of 4 to make the pass on Zach Kerr. If we head back up to the front. Here we go. He's going to send it down here on him. He's going to go to the outside.
For the moment, Kerr able to rotate the car all the way to the bottom. Has the free air on the nose. A little bit more momentum though will come the way of Wayne Burke. The wider line. Touch a draft. Gets the nose underneath. Quite critical is getting that nose underneath because it activates the front splitter. So that's what he's looking to do at the moment. Just save a little bit of tyre, not overheat the right rear. Get a fraction closer. You can see in the left-hand side mirror as well, the rest of the field. Just on the left-hand side of the A pillar. And this time, you'll turn it in from a higher line on the entry to 1 and 2. And again.
And there's a battle between Jones and Newman back there for 4th and 5th at the moment. These guys are too wide. They're trading paint. They're exchanging a little bit of paint here.
So, P4, number 1 and the number 11 on the roll at the moment. A little bit of side draft. Matt Danson just says, all right, boys, well, if you want to fight for it, no worries. I'll keep the momentum banked up. I'll wait for you to try and resolve this one and beat the Perriers off the corner. Brad Newman runs it a little bit higher in the corner. tries to take some of that outside run away from Jones at the moment. And that will continue to open the low line up from Matt Danson. He wants to get down there, wants to get underneath. Gets a touch tight as he runs back up the racetrack. And where does Brad Newman park it? He's going to continue to try and side draft him. The critical hit. He's dumping air on Ryan Jones's rear spoiler. He's creating a whole bunch of extra drag for Ryan Jones at the moment. Gets back to the inside. Jones tries to come down the racetrack. Wasn't quite room. Now Jones is loose off the corner. Danson will take that one. Slots it in. I think the big thing we're seeing tonight, Nigel, drivers willing to risk trading a little bit of paint. That's something we haven't seen thus far on the season.
Getting close to the cutoff, aren't we, to the playoffs? So everyone wants that win. We've got Zach Kerr. He's had 4 wins. Matt Danson's 3. Lewis Gradehead's had 1. So we've only had 3 winners in the series with Zach Kerr and Danson showing some terrific forms. So that ticket to the chase, so you need to punch that win now. So aggressive driving's going to come out for the next 3 races, I reckon.
How about the progress for Josh Micklemore as he continues to run through the field? Gets the door shut on Tom Free, although I get the feeling Tom Free knew that one was coming and opted to allow that one to resolve itself.
And sometimes too, Scotty, you're better off just getting the position and getting the draft from behind. You don't want to lose the draft here, because once you lose the draft, that's pretty much the position gone.
That's it. I was actually giving some coaching tips to a couple of boys earlier on in the week about trucks at Michigan. And one of the big things I said was lift, drop in. If you're going to lose the spot, lose it early and push the guy back up to the pack. Do not lose the draft. That's what Michigan's all about.
And then when you're too wide too, you're buggered for the draft. So that's why you always is better off just slipping in behind them and then get him in the next corner in 3 and 4.
Momentum racetrack, this one. Very, very big racetrack. Big, wide, open, tons of lanes to run. You can easily fit down the front straight 5 wide. There's room enough to do that. But for the meantime, everyone's single filed back out yet again. Halfway through the fuel run now, just past the halfway point. Quarter race distance has already been chalked up as well.
And as we talked about before with Wayne Burke, he's in second position at the moment. His form in this series has been absolutely outstanding with his 5 top 5s and 7 top 10s. So he's had 100% strike rate so far, finishing the top 10 in the series. So he'll be looking for that win as well, because he'll be straight away into the playoffs, and he's got a lot of playoff points. He's starting to keep in his bank. So he's going to make the pass here. He's not going to quite get it on Kerr this time.
Not for the moment. Continues to just chill out in behind. The big thing for Zach Kerr is he's punching that hole in the air. I think Wayne Burke might be just letting him do that just a little bit.
And Ethan Winter, he's going right up high there now.
And now, I wonder whether or not Wayne Burke might be rolling out of the throttle a little bit on the straightaway. He's not pressing up quite as quickly to Zach Kerr as I thought he might. Might be looking to try and extend the fuel stint just a little bit. And then a couple laps later, go for an overcut on the tyre.
Maybe we should go on board with Zach Kerr for one lap and just show the viewers at home of how these guys here are actually, they're not just turning left, they are working these wheels and they're concentrating 100%. So it doesn't take much for these cars to go around. So look at him work the wheel.
So,
and as you...
So that's speed on the right-hand side of your screen as well. Gear selections. Ignore 5, 6, and 7. In Xfinity Series cars, she's only got 4 gears. First, second, third, and fourth. Well, no, untrue. It does have a 5th gear. It's reversed. And back through this way. Worthwhile having a look a little bit further back in the field as well, maybe taking a ride on board with Brenton Hobson or Josh Mickelmore, cars that are side by side. Zach Kerr is going to go side by side with Wayne Burke at the moment for the race lead, but again, Burke on the bottom of the racetrack will have no momentum on the front straight. That was Lachlan Mead up into the fence, and a freebie picked off for Josh Mickelmore.
He's now up into the 11th. He's up 10 spots. Oh.
Jason Holdsworth and Ryan Jones. See, Jones is just driving in so much deeper into the corner, and Holdsworth backs off and runs it in. Ethan Winters now moved to the high side of the racetrack, looking for a little bit of momentum. More importantly, I think free air. Look at that. Completely different style of driving up at the top. And for the moment, he's starting to pull some margin back in on the leaders as well. Look at the momentum down the front straight. Is taking small chunks of time out of them once they fight.
And Ethan Winter is a really good dirt racer, so running that high line would be something that he's very much used to and can do it very, very well. Same as Lachlan Mead as well. A very very good dirt racers, so those guys know how to run that high line probably better than anybody in the field.
Tell you what, I heard Ethan. I said something about Ethan Winter and his championship hunt might be over in the Oceanic Dirt Sim events. I think it would have been about 2 weeks ago. And somebody turned around and said to me, you know, you might have just motivated him. Well, you came out and ran second on Thursday night. I don't hate that. I love seeing drivers get a little bit annoyed sometimes when the commentator says something, get fired up. Love a bit of passion.
Well, the form that Ethan's shown in the X Series on Tuesday night is incredible. Every race he's getting better and better. He's putting the work in, and that's the thing with these races is the more work you put in, the more you want to get put into it, you are going to get out of it. Because even with the ANC, very rarely these races fit the official schedule. So you do have to go away and work as a team, as an individual, and build those setups, because every lap of practice does count in these races. And we are seeing the best of Australia in these races every fortnight here in the Australian NASCAR Championships.
All right, we're looking for a little bit of an onboard of cars and battle pack. I'll tell you what, Mickelmore is the perfect guy to go and have a look at the moment. He's got some lanes gunked up right ahead of him right now.
Oh, here we go.
From the inside of Brenton Hobson. That's the Synergy Sim Racing machine right there. Now the lane's condensed towards the top side of the racetrack. Fitzroy Beaumont's going to get a run on him down the back straight away because, of course, he took the low line, couldn't carry the momentum. And now we'll transition to the top side of the racetrack. Have a look at the cars up on the high line now. You're starting to see a transition through the field of cars moving up. And Dave Douglas, Brenton Hobson, the two cars ahead of him, also running the fence.
Now that 16 got a little loose then coming out of 4.
They're Xfinity cars, mate. They're all a touch loose.
So that's the fun part of it.
First pit stop for Sam Smith, just past the third race distance, so this will be on cue for Smith. That means he's on a 2-stop strategy. He'll be driving hard for the rest of the race, trying to make up time. He'll be physically the fastest car for the remainder of the race, but he'll have to overhaul an additional pit stop. It's generally about just over a lap at Michigan.
Look at the battle here. We've got Ryan Jones, Holdsworth, Dave Douglas, Brenton Hobson, Josh Mickelmore. Sam Smith now exits the fence lane.
Has cleared Brenton Hobson on the entry to the corner, by the way, in the background of these guys. But there was no hole to feed into. Oh, Holdsworth gets a little bit of a loose. We'll ride it down to the inside fence. Hangs on to it. And Jones is now loose up and by the fence, which means Dave Douglas is going to get a run, and he moves to the outside. Does not want to give Ryan Jones the outside line as this starts to get spicy.
These cars are becoming a handful to drive, so one little mistake. And yeah, Holdsworth, he's now back down to 14th. Now he's dropped 8 positions from that there. As look at the two Nitro cars here of Dave Douglas and Josh Mickelmore trying to get together here to get the draft. I'm not sure, Scotty, you might be able to fill me in a little bit more about the side drafts on these things. is there as much as what they are with the trucks and next gen?
More. I mean, Michigan's all about momentum, so there is more side draft in Michigan than realistically most other places. And the reason for that is the speeds are high because they're not running a restrictor plate package.
Yes.
But
okay.
yeah, you can pull them right back. Difficulty at the moment. Lead battle packs, nothing much is changing up here. Still Kurt. I reckon Burke is using it to fuel save.
I think so. 100%.
And for the meantime, this battle pack still hasn't resolved itself. Fitzroy Beaumont has got through to ninth spot. Lachlan Mead is going to try and get underneath him down the front straight away. Chapman, Seven Machine, Sam Chapman, only Brenton Hobson. So comers and goers on the tyre strategy. Hobson wasn't a fast starter. He had a really strong middle portion of the stint. We're now in the late stint on the fuel and tyre run. And the car has gone away from him. Ryan Jones just about got the fence. He had to check up majorly in 1 and 2. These guys are battling each other loose.
And Josh McElmore, he'll be looking to get that pass done on Ryan Jones. Lachlan Mead there now. Yeah, Mead's back on the inside as well. Change for the lead right here.
Wayne Burke crosses the stripe with the lead, but the problem will be you're expecting a slide job here in 1 and 2. He'll swing it to the inside, then he'll check up. He'll slide up in front of Zach Kerr. I'll just prop him up a little bit. Kerr gets the opportunity to reply by taking the run down the back straightaway. Took it nowhere, so maybe he now switches to fuel saving a little bit. Have a look at Ethan Vincent now. It starts to close in.
I was going to say maybe Zach Kerr has decided, well, time for Wayne to lead, Burke to lead some laps, so then he can save a little bit of fuel as well. This could be strategy here, Scotty.
Hang on. Just heard Ryan Jones is coming to the pit lane this time. Will not make the 50-lap marker. I was thinking that, based upon your numbers that you had, Nigel. I just don't know. I think the fuel margin around here is about 43, 44 laps. So I'm pretty sure it's a two-stopper.
That's okay. I'm happily be wrong. I thought it was 50 to 60 laps. That's okay. Maybe that's mile and a half. Looks. Everyone's coming in this lap. There's going to be massive.
Here we go.
I reckon who's on pit road at the moment? Ryan Jones missed his pit box, so he had to reverse back. So that's going to be a slow stop for the 11.
Here we go, pit lane. Zach Kerr nearly gets a hurry up. Ethan Winter will follow him down to pit lane. They're all coming in. The bulk of the field in this time by. Who's managed to go the extra couple laps? Burke, Danson, Lachlan, Mead. The first three go through. 43 laps ticked off at the end of this one. Somebody's missed their stall. Brad Newman. Brad Newman's still not into the stall. Finally, we're getting in there. Newman's going to lose about 3 spots as a result of this one. He is going to lose bulk time.
Fitzroy Beaumont
mixed. Way out.
Fitzroy, missed their pick box as well. So it's another car. Danson, Lachlan Mead's in as well as behind him is Tom Freer as well. So these guys, there's a few cars that missed their pick box. So Henry King's in. Stevie Williams is still out there at the moment. Wayne Burke at the comes in now. The pit times. Let's see who's got the quickest time on pit road.
So worthwhile noting, 43 laps is about the maximum you can go. That means that the pit lane window to the end will open at the end of lap 57. Will be a pit window. But the thing is, worthwhile pointing out at this point in time, 43 laps complete. Wayne Burke went the extra lap. And that is Zach Kerr on fresher rubber. He gets 1 lap of undercut. And Stevie Williams, after going the longest in terms of fuel, finally comes to the pit lane. Interesting to note, teammates Dave Douglas, Job Schmickelmore now together on the racetrack. They will look to work together in the Nitro colours. 7th and 8th on the road.
Yeah, the down pit road then, Scotty, Brad Newman, he was 47.82, so he had one of the slowest times on pit road due to not hitting his pit stall right. We also had
About 4
Ryan
seconds left.
Jones, as well as Sam Chapman and Henry King as well had trouble. Sorry, it wasn't Fitzroy Bowman, it was Sam Chapman that was having trouble down pit road. I got that one wrong.
Righto, so we are from our 45th circuit. I'm just watching the time as well because I'm unfortunately in the middle of a Nürburgring 24 hours, so I'm just looking at times and everything all at the same time. In the meantime, we have 45 laps from 31 minutes worth of racing time here tonight, which means we're going to be about another 45 minutes or so to the end of this race if it goes green. At the moment, Zach Kerr's got control, but Wayne Burke will be running him down, just running 2/10 of a second faster. So the benefit is, you come into the pit lane earlier, you get yourself some track position. And the saying in NASCAR and the saying in iRacing goes, clean air is king. Why? Well, if you get a full force of air hitting your front splitter, the splitter works better. If you're the second car in the queue, you haven't got a front splitter that's getting a full force of air. Let alone the underbody of the car, let alone the rear wing, everything's following the air of the car behind. Benefit of that, you get a giant toe. Somebody else is punching a hole in the air. But you'll overheat your tyres, you're working harder, which means your pace on the long run generally tends to suffer. You're going to do something to try and counteract that. Jason Holdsworth gets a bit of respect from Brad Newman, who will elect to fall in.
With the pit window opening, Scotty, on lap 57, what would you do if you was in their position? Would you go in and fill up to the end, considering we've got this big spread of cars now, so the chances of yellows do decrease. So what would you think you're going to do?
Well, the critical factor is, to the fans watching along at home, how many tyre sets do you get to work with? That's the big key. Once we know the fuel number, the tyre sets are the next big key. 4 sets of tyres across the start of the race tonight. Drivers are on their second set of tyres. Fastest overall strategy is generally to pit at the third race distance. But the problem is, if you pit early and a caution falls and you're a lap down, unfortunately, you're stuck a lap down. That's why the whole field ran long on that first stop. What you'll see them do from here on out, they went 43 laps. We'll take 43 laps from 100, gives you 57. I'll split the remaining 57 laps in half. I'll go 28 laps and 29 laps to go home. So I'm expecting drivers to start pitting from about 71 would be my recommendation. But the pit window in earnest will open from lap 57. Anytime from there, you'll see the first driver will probably be Sam Smith on lap 66.
The thing I think of, Scotty, is, or do you run later and then don't have to take as much fuel, put a set of tyres on there and adjust the car to get a faster car at the end? Will that be more of an advantage than what it would be pitting early?
If you're stuck behind the guys that you're behind, you cannot do what they do. If you do exactly what they do, you'll never overtake them. So you're either going to come earlier for a little bit of track position, or you go later. That's the big key. Tyre fall-off's the critical factor here tonight, ladies and gents. In the first run, I'll talk to you about the race leader. We'll jump back up and have a look at Zach Kerr. That's Tom Frewer at the moment, going toe-to-toe. In the first hit, for Zach Kerr, his fastest lap, 39.198. His last lap before the pits, 41.496. He fell off. What's that, about 1.5 seconds? No, that's more than that. 2.3 seconds he fell off over 40 laps. So why do you get an undercut? Well, if somebody pits before you, they're 2.3 seconds a lap faster. That's why. And Michael Moore will get to the inside of Dave Douglas on the front straightaway. Of course, don't forget there's two teammates. They'll be talking about this one. This will be planned. Dave would have seen Michael Moore coming and just said, yep, I'm going to fight you a little bit, make it look good for the cameras.
Also, it's good to keep in mind there, Scotty, that Wayne Burke was 1/10 quicker last lap than Zach Kerr.
In the draft is the big key for Burke. He's now back in the draft, so as hard as Zach Kerr wants to run, he's going to be towing Wayne Burke along. Hobson, we'll see Josh Micklemore pull away to his inside. And for the driver who started 21st tonight, slide job complete. Slides up in front of Brenton Hobson. Moves his way to 5th spot on the road. 16 spots gain. And if I was in Matt Danson's shoes, I don't like my chances of not becoming Josh Micklemore's next victim.
He's certainly got a point to prove, and usually his whole family watches on the YouTube, especially his old man. I'm waiting to see if there's some comments in the chat He always gets stuck into Josh, so we'll see what comes out of it.
If the family's watching, what we want to know is what's the most embarrassing. What does Josh Mickelmore not want us knowing about him? Because you can tell that will get walked out at every opportunity. A producer just said, if you've got baby photos, we have the broadcast space for you.
And have a go to the YouTube chat at the moment. We got Lewis Gradehead, who isn't running tonight. He's away this weekend. He'll be back for the next round at Pocono. Fire up 10 Conti fans. I think there's plenty of Conti fans on track here at the moment. Lethal John, DJ Seidel in the booth. Yes, I'm in the booth here tonight doing double duties.
I had to get paid extra. When I heard Nigel was on, I asked for double my number rates.
Triple. I didn't even have to rock up at all.
I'm going to need a case of beer to get through tonight's broadcast.
He was like, oh no, I'm now sick, I'm not doing it anymore.
Fun fact, I've actually got a cold at the moment, so I've been doing 48 hours of Nürburgring with a cold this weekend, and I'm stuffed.
Oh, we've got Trent Laval, Mickelmore on double duties this weekend. Yes, I think he's doing the 24-hour as well. And
Brad Newman's on the slide. So whatever he's done with the car, it's not been the right adjustments for Brad Newman.
And let's remember, these two had a little bit of history at Phoenix. If we can remember rightly, as
Brad Newman had one of the quickest race cars that night, and very rightly should have been a winner. It was an untimely caution caused by contact with lapped traffic on that occasion. And again, for the road course racing fans among us, NASCAR, no blue flags. Lap traffic, not obliged to jump out of the way. That is the margin for the race lead, and have a look at Ethan Winters still trucking away in the background.
And they've got a fairly decent gap on the rest of the field out too. Just on 3 seconds to Matt Danson in the 30 Altus Engineering machine as well. So these guys have got a comfortable little buffer at the moment. They wouldn't want a yellow to come out here at the moment. Lewis Greathead, he's supporting the boys all the way from Tokyo.
Japan love all things American, by the way, so maybe preach NASCAR whilst you're over there to them. They loved their IndyCar back in the day in Japan. They really, really loved their IndyCar. Love their baseball as well. So in the meantime, Holdsworth now picks off a spot. Tyres on the second half of the run for Holdsworth, looking good. Tends to happen at Michigan. Once everyone gets separated out a fair bit, you see drivers just hanging around on their own. So that's what we're watching at the moment.
The field's pretty much spread out all over the track here now.
Yep. A couple battles up and down the field. Lindbergh still... He's just attached to that rear bumper of Zach Kerr's. Has he spotted something on the back end there? Can we get a zoom? Can we get a close-up? Let's see if there's a mosquito. Is he trying to crush a bug back there?
Splash and go graphics. I think he might have gave them a call and got some graphics done while he was waiting.
I reckon there's a fly. There's clearly a fly somewhere on that Ford logo that Lindbergh's like, I just want to squash it. Gets a look at the left-hand side of Zach Kerr's car on the way down into turn number 3.
Is he going to get it done though?
Can't quite get the pass completed, but he does run Kerr up the racetrack. First time we've seen him actually come underneath him, and Zach Kerr is trying to make a side draft not an inviting option. And you can just see. So what does side draft do? Well, you've heard of normal drafting, ladies and gentlemen. Gets to the inside. The critical factor there was not clear. See how Kerr stays alongside just as he'll run them up the racetrack. Side draft is not about making speed. It's about taking speed away from your opponent. Normal drafting, you lock in behind a guy. It's about making your car go a little bit faster. Side drafting is the completely opposite. Great extra drag. You want more air. What he does, he'll put his nose, as we come down the front straight away here, you put his nose up around the wheel well of Zach Kerr. And what that does is it puts The air comes up and over the front end. Watch this. As soon as he gets close to him, all of a sudden he shoots off like a rocket. All of a sudden gains a few extra kilometers an hour, and Burke is going to prop him up the racetrack. Last couple laps, Wayne Burke has turned all the way to the bottom of that second groove. He is loose as they come up and out of turn 2. Momentum still on the high side. And again, you can see the run just stalls out when he gets to that point. Again, Kerr forces Wayne Burke. He says, right, I've got my nose ahead this time. You're coming down the racetrack with me.
And Wayne would also too, he would want this win so badly for his team and for everyone involved, because he knows that in 2 weeks, 2 races time, we head to Chicago Street Course, where there's a lot of incredible good road course guys there that we're hoping to bank that victory as well. So if he could snag a win there and get himself into the playoffs, it would mean so much for the 89 machine and for Team Vermilion and Esports and their alliance with Team Conti as well.
I think the biggest thing about when you talk road course racing and Australian NASCAR series is I think we've got a bunch of oval ringers. We're realistically a road course league where we have a bunch of guys that are really, really good at ovals. Normally, it's the other way around. Oh boy! 3 wide. Jones gets put up and into the third groove. He's going to get cleared on the mid-corner. And then slides up in front. There's the 16 machine, the Fitzroy Beaumont. He'll cover that one off.
And also, too, I think Newman and Hobson, Newman's just made the pass on Hobson there to up into 9th position as well.
So Sam Chapman will now look at the back end of these two. You can see Ryan Jones was thinking about propping out to the inside. Fitzroy just read him a little bit. Propped him up. Jones will get all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, try and come up and maintain momentum. Can't quite do so. And now he's going to have Sam Chapman get to his outside as well. That might be 2 spots lost. Trying to fight too hard for 1. Cheeky. As Ryan Jones is going to continue to try and prop the 7 machine of Chapman up the racetrack. A bit of draft in that outside lane. Lean on him a little bit. Again, it's all about keeping him there.
But for Wayne Burke, though, now at the moment, Scotty, is he better off just sitting behind the 12 of Zach Kerr to save that bit of fuel, so that when it comes to the pit stops, he's not on pit lane for as long?
I think he wants priority. You want to be the lead driver heading in the pit lane, because that gives you priority. You're sort of controlling the strategy a little bit. As again, these guys, Jones is just saying, right, you can't turn down the racetrack, and Chapman is saying right back, I don't want you running any higher than you really want to, was what was in that one. Gets the pass done, drops back to the inside. So Doring tonight, like, that's just uncommon. Really uncommon. And Jones will get back on the outside. That was the wrong move. Chapman needed to stay up high. The thing about Michigan is you defend from the top later on in the tyre run. By the way, 65 laps in, next time by, I reckon the pit window will open in earnest.
Lachlan Mead's getting the pass done on Dave Douglas. Burke's out, he lost a 10th that lap. He's out to 2/10 now on Zach Kerr up the front here now as Jason Holdsworth and Simpson on the inside there.
For the meantime, everyone just takes a breath.
Everyone's just counting down the laps pretty much at the moment. But yeah, everyone will be trying to get that win. Zach Kerr, he's got 4 wins so far, with Danson got the 3 wins, and Lewis Greathead, he stole a win as well. So everyone in that top 4 at the moment. Tyler Williams isn't racing with us tonight, so we've got Wayne Burke and Brad Newman. He'll be hungry for that win with Josh Mickamore as well.
2/3 race distance now ticked over. Isn't about 130 miles complete. And the big thing is, from here on out, it's not about how many laps are done. It now becomes about how many laps left to go. About 5 laps time, you're going to see the bulk of the field start to pit.
Stevie Dub's in.
For Stevie Williams. Unfortunately for him, was running around about 14th or so, just before that pit stop. And the long way disconnected, unfortunately. He's had issues trying to keep pace in the car and look after the tyres. Zach Kerr continues the only car to use that bottom seam, isn't he? Completely different driving style to everyone else.
He's got that car absolutely dialed at the moment, the Nexus 12 machine. As Wayne Burke, I don't know if he's just biding his time, Scotty. I don't, or is just Zach's just got that perfect line of that car that it makes it Johnny impossible for Wayne to pass.
The big thing is, did you see those cars on the way back up the racetrack? Wayne Burke sort of had to have a couple goes at the steering wheel and the throttle every time he crossed the seam line.
Yeah.
Pete Grip is now in the rear view mirror for both of these cars. Kerr comes up the track aggressively right there. If Wayne Burke can maybe just turn down a fraction later in 1 and 2, he might be able to do the old crossover. Lap traffic up ahead is Sam Smith, unfortunately. Remember I said he came to the pit lane at the end of lap 33? Well, he's overdue for another stop.
Big talking point so far would have to be Josh Mickelmore. He's up into the top 5 now. Up 16 spots.
Issue for him at the moment, 9 seconds back off the race lead. These two have just absolutely cleaned house tonight. Ethan Wince's 5 seconds back from him. Great little fight for the race lead. But everyone else is just spread out a touch.
It's only one portion, Scotty, and all this can change very quickly.
In the rear view of Sam Smith. He's going to let the lead cars go. You see them do this at NASCAR ovals too, the bigger ovals in particular. Cut the front straight away. Why? The outside lane, it's longer. That's it. That's the only reason.
The closest battle we've got on field at the moment is between Zach Kerr and Wayne Burke at the moment. To go in the back of the field, there's a little gap there between 6th, 7th and 8th and 9th between Mead, Holdsworth, Newman and Douglas. There's a little battle going on there. Not quite though, they are spread out a little bit. They're the closest ones on track at the moment as everyone's spread out at the moment. We've got more cars now hitting down pit lane. We've now got Brenton West is now down pit lane. And Sam Smith is back down pit lane as well. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you see him park that car up.
28 laps to go, by the way, so remember. Whoa! Sam Chapman gets it pulled up on pit lane entry. The big question will be, was there a speeding infringement for the driver of the 7? And the answer to that one, no. Nobody pointed a speed gun at that car and found it to be in excess of the speed limit on pit lane entry.
This lap we've got Holdsworth and Newman have just come on the radio saying they're coming down pit lane right now. Ethan Winters in.
And these are a lot of the cars that are actually deep in battles. All looking for an undercut.
Zach Kerr's on his way in.
Just jumped on the radio, and I thought Wayne Burke would have tried to sneak off into the pit lane behind him and get an undercut. So is Burke going to run long again, or is he going to follow him into the pit lane on the outside of him? They're running about the same speed. Does stay in the gas, and we'll go 1 lap longer. I wonder whether or not Wayne Burke this time might go about 3 or 4 laps longer and really try and overcut and tyre offset here. Mickelmore will dive to pit lane. So Zach Kerr, Mickelmore in. And this is no longer about fuel saving. This one's about preferred strategy. This is where the drivers will look to outsmart each other. Nigel.
Yeah, 100%. these last pit stops of this here, you don't want to make any mistakes. So far, everyone's made no mistakes going down pit road. Everyone's been really good except for Sam Chapman. He had a bit of a incident on the way in, so he was 5 seconds longer on pit road. But 43.1, 43.2 is where everyone wants to be on pit road. So far, some of the times have been Zach Kerr. He was the quickest on pit road then, 43.13. So Wayne Burke will have that information in his ear from his team, so he'll be looking to absolutely nail this pit stop to see if there's any advantage that he can get at all, as Tom Freer and Aaron Gilbert are now down pit road. He's going to take this as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for a 4 or 5 lap offset. Just giving himself a lot. When he gets there, he's going to have a head of steam. I think that's going to be the point, is basically say at this point in time he was always going to finish second because he just couldn't complete the pass. So if he doesn't get there in the end, well, he will finish second. But if this time, he gives himself a lot.
Could it be a strategy as well that one of his teammates might give him the push?
And Wayne Burke will pull to the inside and come to pit lane.
Oh,
He's in hot, but you got to attack that pit lane line.
very hot, but I think he's got in okay. So Danson, he's still out there. .43. So he's playing the long game as well in the 30 machine. He's open to getting to equal the amount of wins that Zach Kerr's on, in 4 wins so far. He started 9th. He's currently in 1st. But credit to Wayne Burke though, he has been the quickest car on pit road, 42.9. So he was 2/10 quicker off pit road than Zach Kerr. I wonder if that's going to make any difference later in the race.
Newman went in hot and late. Will make the line. Matt Danson has gone for the overcut as well. Dave Douglas still out and circulating. Ryan Jones also continuing on. So keeping an eye on those drivers still yet to pit. 23 laps left to run. They will have to come to pit, so make no mistake, and that will be Matt Danson coming to pit lane right now.
No. So the quickest car on pit road so far has been Wayne Burke for the 42.90. 40, and the next one was Henry King, Zach Kerr, 43.13 was the quickest. So the 2 quickest cars on the track are the 2 quickest pit stops.
So at the moment, just watching and waiting. So maximum distance will be to lap 86 and 14 laps to go. And I think this is Danson just goal hanging at this point. Because Wayne Burke right now, 2 seconds a lap faster.
Well, I guess too, Danson's got nothing to lose either. He's already in the playoffs, so he could gamble a little bit here that maybe there may be a caution that may come out. You just never know. So he's playing just strategy. He's got nothing to lose.
Big thing is, for Wayne Burke, he needs to make time back out of Zach Kerr, because he went long. Well, he took 0.3 of a second out of him on this most recent lap. Swings it underneath Ethan Winter. That was Sam Smith lapped car on the outside. Clearing traffic's the key problem. He's now done that. 5.5 seconds down the road. Dave Douglas will dive to pit lane. Here comes all the strategy starting to blend its way back together.
Yeah, Matt Danson, he's staying out there. He's going long. Very, very long.
for Matty Danson at the moment. Still chilling out. As you can see, Matt Danson clearly pays for his own fuel bill. That's why he's being a little conservative tonight.
Well, Josh Mickelmore
as well. Doesn't want to use the extra set.
Well, he probably.
They're expensive.
All depends what Altus Engineering's tyre bill is, and he's telling Matt that say that next set for next week or during for testing during the week, because we've got a battle here between Josh Mickelmore, Lachlan Mead, and Jason Holdsworth. Great results so far for Josh Mickelmore. He's up into the top 10 after starting in the 21st tonight. Looks like he's going to go for the pass here on Holdsworth now to go back up another spot now. He'll be now into 8th position.
Yep, and Lachlan Mead will be just ahead of him as well. And it's going to be a massive offset turn of tyres as well. Actually, these two pit about 1 lap apart. So 1 lap older tyres for Lachlan Mead. Really not all that much an offset. Just keeping an eye on the progress of Wayne Burke. He's taken, in the last 3 laps, he's taken 0.8 of a second our race leader. And Matt Danson will finally yield and dive to pit lane at the end of this lap. Took him some time.
Well, just thinking of that then, Wayne Burke is 0.3 quicker at the moment than Zach Kerr on track.
And the thing is, we have 18 laps left to run. Margin is 4.5 seconds. So by that math, Wayne Burke will get there, but remember, tyre advantage will slowly bleed off, and then there's this to worry about as well. Zach Kerr encounters a little bit of traffic, but crucially, gets a draft down the front straight away. That is not something Wayne Burke will want to see. Although, to be fair, Burke actually just took 0.4 of a second out of him. So this could be Zach Kerr in a little bit of trouble as he tries to get to the inside of the traffic. That's Shane Bowen. Remember, we were just talking about lap traffic not obliged to jump out of the way in NASCAR. And for Zach Kerr, this might be the undoing tonight.
And Newman just made a pass then on the 88 of Bretton Hobson. I haven't got my glasses on. I couldn't quite see the number. He's up into 8th and started 3rd. Josh Mickelmore on Lachlan Mead. He's going to try to sit behind him and get that bit of draft to get himself up to turn 1.
I think the big key for these two is that they actually are trying to track down Henry King ahead of it. Well, Henry King's still yet to pit, so this actually becomes the battle for 4th spot on the racetrack at the moment.
So Wayne Burke he's still taking a chunk. He's another 0.2 off of Zach Kerr that lap as well. So
the last lap took 0.5 of a second out of it. He took a huge chunk, 0.4 of a second out of it. 15 to go.
Henry King's now entered pit road, so everyone after Henry King now has the pit cycle has now been completed. So
Henry King's the only guy goal hanging, and with him now to pit lane, we've now completed that cycle. Mickelmore continues to close in on Lachlan Mead. That was the lap traffic we were just clearing a moment ago. We'll get to the start-finish line, 14 laps to go. Margin for our race lead, a lick over 3 seconds.
I don't think Burke could do it. I don't think he'll have the tyre to do it.
He is still taking the time he needs to.
Oh, that's... We could see it's going to be a great battle if he can get there. I just was wondering he may just use that little bit too much tyre to get to where he is now. He'll do the work to get there, but the car will just say, nah, I can't quite do it, son.
Josh Mickelmore will get the job done around the top side of Lachlan Mead. The problem now for Mead is that's going to make him a touch more vulnerable. The more that those two fought, the more that Jason Holdsworth kept an eye on the pair of them and said, all right, boys, no problem. I will quite gladly accept what you're offering. They move to the high side of the racetrack now. And Mead is tight, cannot get the car to stay down the racetrack and exit. He had to bail on the throttle, and that is momentum. That's the one thing you don't want to give up at Michigan. Momentum. There's an issue as well for Wayne Burke. He's now just picking off the lap traffic of Bowen and Brenton West, which he'll clear successfully down the back straight away. Margin 2.4 seconds for the race lead. 12 to go up the stripe. You know, I reckon he's going to have enough. He's going to have enough time. So we've got to go 5 or so laps before we have to get back up there. That's the lap traffic that Wayne Burke has just picked off. Zach Kerr's number 12, Ford Mustang, starting to become bigger and bigger and bigger.
And Zach Kerr will know from the last 82 laps or 88 laps that Wayne can run with him on longer runs, so he can just sit behind him and bide his time. So Zach Kerr will be fully aware of what the situation that he's facing right now. Last lap was a 40.74 for Kerr. Lachlan Mead's having some technical difficulties coming over the radio.
Mead is starting to have issues now as well as he starts to fall back down. And caution is going to come out because Lachlan Mead, I reckon, he might have had a throttle pedal failure of some description because he lost power. You can just see he's got no control over the race car at this point.
Oh.
He has. Well, it was starting to peter out, and we're going to get ourselves a two-way fight. And just like that, we've got a race on our hands. One set of tyres left for everyone in the field. Guess who's coming out of pit lane to take him?
And considering too the two fastest cars off pit road last time in was Zach Kerr and Wayne Burke, this is going to be interesting. This could decide the race right here.
How important is that number 1 pit stall going to be as well for Ethan Winter? Because remember, he will have the short shoot out of pit lane. So there is every opportunity that he could make ground up, but speeding on pit lane has been his bane this season too. The problem is, at the moment, looking at the numbers for our race leaders, more time on those tyres. There might be a call to take 2 tyres only. The difficulty, we're going to have ourselves about a 7-lap shootout. You thought you said
You'd have to take 4.
You'd have to take 4. I agree. And it's Michigan. Michigan's too big. You can't get away with taking 2 at Michigan. A couple lap cars will stay out to take their wave by. And they'll peel off into pit lane for now.
So everyone's on pit road perfectly. Everyone's taken 4 tyres too. Josh Mickelmore, he's on now off the race off. It's going to be Newman.
Brad Newman's going to elect to take 2 tyres and get a little bit of track position and control the restart. How crucial will this be? Brad Newman has not had a quick race car here tonight, but he's desperate for a race win. Zach Kerr doesn't need another race win. He's comfortable and confident, but Wayne Burke, think about that one. Burke and Newman, both desperate to chalk up a win here.
Ethan Winter as well. He'll be looking to continue that stellar form that he's having with the X Series here. Jason Holdsworth, he's up into the top 5. Josh Mickelmore and Matt Danson, he got off pit road fine that time. He's had a bit of trouble getting on and off pit road lately, the number 30 machine. So good to see that he's fixed that problem that he's been having. And just behind him, Brenton Hobson and Tom Freer. Dave Douglas is your top 10, but yeah, this is anyone's race, Scotty, because you know, as we've said earlier in the broadcast, 4 or 5 wide can easily be done here.
Well, think about our first start of the night. We were 4 wide before we got to turn 1, so could see the same again here.
The famous saying goes, cautions breed cautions.
And for those cars that were off the lead lap, an opportunity to get themselves back on the lead lap. We get another caution. I'll have